In this video, I'd like to show a good example of how to move with the ball in doubles, and this is called shading. It has to do with how to position yourself on the court during a doubles point based on where the ball is, and I'm going to show you guys why this is important and what you should be doing with your feet as a doubles point progresses. Now I'm going to go ahead and play through this point first so that you guys can see what happens. And then we're going to break it down shot by shot. Okay, so as the player on the near side hits the return of serve, we'll see that he is starting to get pulled well off the court by that good serve out wide. And he hits the outside of the ball and hits a nice angle cross court. Now, as this ball lands, as the return of serve lands, and I start to inch forwards a little bit more with the video, I want you to watch all four players and how they're all moving to the left. This is because the ball has been struck and hit over to the left side of the court from our perspective. Now, this is important for all four players. It's important for the player who's closest to us right here because he needs to get back into play to cover the middle of the court. And this is because his partner up here at the net has shifted over to his left to cover the alley, as he should. When the ball is struck out wide and your opponent is pulled off the court in doubles and you're the net player, you want to follow the ball out to that side of the net, out to that side of the court, and your primary job is to cover that shot down the line. So if this player over on the other side was to hit this shot down the line, down the alley, it's that player at the net whose responsibility it is to cover that. If the player on the other side of the net hits down the middle, our player closest to us should be covering that as well. The most difficult shot for the player who's getting ready to strike the ball here would be to take that shot and hit a sharp angle back cross court again. It's possible, but we want this player who's closest to us to really cover the middle first. And that's why he's shifting back over towards the left and not staying way out wide where he was a couple seconds ago. Now, the last player who we haven't talked about yet is the person at the net on the other side. He should be shifting himself towards the ball as well. From his perspective, this is out to the right where the ball has passed him. And he's in a perfect position right now. And the reason why he's in a perfect position is because if his partner doesn't hit a good shot and the net player is able to intercept it, this net player, his easiest option is to go back down the middle in between those two players. And John up there at the net has done a really nice job putting himself right in the middle of the courts. This player at the net could also, if he does get the ball, hit an angle as well, but this is a much more difficult shot than just going down the middle of the courts, and that's why John up here at the net has shifted over to his right. So there's a reason why all four of these guys are in the position they're in, and it's all about covering their side of the court most effectively, and all four of them are in really good position right here. All right, so let's go ahead and continue with this point. That player gets it back cross court and avoids the net person, and watch how everybody shifts to the right, as they should. Now, as contact is made here, I think there's only one person here that is not in the best position he could be. First of all, let's take a look at John again up at the net. He's done a good job shifting back to his left again once the ball has crossed him. And if we back up and see where he was a second ago, he really was straddling the center line. Actually, he was to the right of the center line from his perspective. Let me back this up a little bit farther. So when the ball was struck over here, he's actually out to the right of that center line. And once he sees that the ball is going back cross court again, he starts to shift over to his left. And when the ball is struck by his opponents, he's all the way over towards the alley again. So he's moved a good 10 feet here, which he's supposed to do. He's supposed to slide back and forth with the ball as it goes back and forth. And so he's done a good job sliding over. And again, the reason for this is to cover the alley. Now his partner also is starting to move back to his left to cover down the middle in case the person who's striking the ball does go down the middle. The only person who I think could do a better job here is this person right here. And remember how John was in the center of the court when he made when his partner was covering that wide return of serve. I think that this person who I've just pointed out should probably be somewhere probably around here, because if John does get his racket on this shot that's going down the line, the easiest place and the most likely place that he's going to go with this shot is going to be right back down the middle again, because that's obviously where the big hole is between the person who's closest to us and his partner. So the person who has the red arrow over his head really should be right about on the center of the court, given where his partner is positioned and where the ball is. So he should be sliding more over to his right. Now, as we continue the point, the ball does go to John. He does get his racket on it, but unfortunately, it catches off his frame. He doesn't hit a clean volley. But otherwise, there's a big hole right here between these two players. And so this person right here really should have slid over a little bit more to his right to cover the center of the court. And what we want to do is basically give John a wide angle volley over here and cover the most likely and the easiest place on the court, which would have been down the middle. John, unfortunately, doesn't make good contact with that volley, so it doesn't work out. But he did have an opening there. I'm going to go ahead and play through this one more time so that you guys see. Everybody shifts to the left. Everybody shifts to the right, except for the one player at the net. I think should have shifted a little bit more, but overall, this is a really good example of how to shade. Again, this is called shading. You guys basically should be following the ball as it goes from right to left. And these guys demonstrate pretty well here how to do that correctly.